let's fill in some of my grimoire together. So today I'm filling in one on roots. So I'm using my watercolor paint to paint 24 individual rune stones, which are going to be the basis of my double page spread. So here we go. And then I'm going ahead with my Uniball pen to just draw the runes on as if these literally are rune casting stones, and I was really happy with the way that this looked actually. I've also just at the top of the page just written a sentence or two on the runes and kind of how you use them. I haven't written about rune casting, and then I've written keywords next to the runes of what they mean, and I'm really happy with it.
Things to include in your grimoires. New Age spirituality and cultural appropriation. The difference between paganism and Wicca. Where does magic with a K come from? Conspiracies and anti-Semitism. G in rhetoric and spiritual spaces. Happy writing, witches.
Witchy Book of Shadows tips. First up, your Book of Shadows is meant to be messy. Don't fall into the trap of perfectionism, otherwise you'll never get started. Next up, add a warning or a curse at the beginning to deter uninvited readers from delving into your Book of Shadows. Now, the pen and the ink that you use to write in your Book of Shadows is actually really important. I prefer Japanese calligraphy pens or quills, and traditionally you are meant to use ink, or felt tip pens can also work, but not ballpoint pens. Before you even begin, plan the content and the structure of your Book of Shadows and leave a few pages blank at the very beginning. Once you have completed the Book of Shadows, you can go through and add page numbers, and then on those pages that you left blank in the beginning, you can go and write a table of contents, which is going to make it super easy for you to find everything that you need.
She was like, oh my God, I could never wear that. And I was like, let me show you how to.
Abracadabra, these bitches know I got answers the way I.
Neurodivergent witches need a binder as a Book of Shadows. I put together the basics so you can get to the fun part. I'm always adding new expansions so it can grow with you. I'm going to also start posting step-by-step videos for the spells I add on YouTube.
Let's take a look at my grimoire so far. So I have this beautiful leather notebook, and we start with a grimoire blessing, which I'm just going to skip over because that feels private. And then we also have a page of me, which again also feels private, but it's basically got like sun sign, moon sign, tree, flower, like birth flower, birth tree, birth crystal, my element, birth tarot card, and my life path number. And then we just have a printed wheel of the year. I really like this visual. And then next we have, basically I've done a double page spread for every single Sabbat, although I still need to do Mabon, and I write a little bit about what that Sabbat celebrates, and then the correspondences, and then a page on rituals and spells for that Sabbat. Then we have moon information, so I've got a page on the different moon phases and their meanings, and then a page on the full moons of the year and their meanings too. Next we have astrology, so we have the zodiac signs, the dates and the energies and that kind of thing, and the planetary alignment as well, and then we have the planets and the energies of them. Then we have the magical days of the week, and then magical numbers, well, 0 to 10. Then I don't really like this page, to be honest, but we've got the elements page, so kind of the direction, time, season, colour, astrological sign, energies, tools, you know, all those kinds of information. And then magical waters, so different types of waters and uses, so sun water, river water, storm water, etc. Then we've got common witches symbols, and then a whole page dedicated to the pentacle and the uses for the pentacle. I then have a ton of pages bookmarked for other things that I haven't got around to writing information about yet. And then we have the spell section, which I'm not going to show you today, but I've started transferring my spells into here. And that is everything that I've got so far. Part of me loves the smaller size of this grimoire. Other times I wish I had a little bit more space, but you know, I still love it. I can't close it one-handed. Let me know what's in your grimoire.
Welcome back to Grimoire Entries. Today we're covering scrying, the only form of divination I actively despise, in most cases. The word scrying comes from the word descry, meaning to see at a distance. Scrying, however, means to see, but not with your eyes. You can do this by meditating while gazing into an object, most commonly a crystal ball or a black mirror, but you can also use things like water, smoke, fire, etc. Also, it doesn't necessarily have to be an obsidian or black mirror. I had a friend who literally just used their phone when it was turned off when they had nothing else. You may have trouble actually seeing anything during a scrying, especially if you've never meditated. I'd suggest starting out scrying with things like fire, smoke, crystals, basically just not a black mirror. As it's a completely blank void, it might be a bit intimidating for beginners. You want to start off scrying with things that have a texture or movement, like I'm doing on screen. Kind of like inkblot therapy, ask yourself what you see in the object. What do the shapes remind you of? What images pop into your head? Take note of anything that comes up. Like say, for example, the image of an owl, an olive tree, and a scale pop into your head. That could mean Athena is reaching out to you. Now notice I said could, because this form of divination pretty much exclusively relies on the imagination or the subconscious. So take whatever message you come across in the scrying with several grains of salt. With that, it's best to verify what you see in a scrying before you even think of considering it to be true. You can do this in a lot of ways, such as other forms of divination, some we've already covered, such as charms, pendulum, bones, etc. But honestly, I'd recommend doing as many types of divination as possible just to be safe. And this is the most important part. Remember to look up the symbolism of what you see before jumping to conclusions. Like if you see a shape you don't recognize and you don't try to research it, you may not know that it was a Norse rune or something. You know what I mean? Could be ignoring messages that something or someone is really trying to send you. I can't stress this enough. Verify what you get in your scryings. Do multiple forms of divination, because this is not the most reliable form of divination. If anything, this is probably the least reliable form of divination. No offense. When ending a scrying session, visualize your energy returning to your body. You're probably going to be a little bit disoriented if you stop suddenly. Eat something or ground yourself if you feel dizzy or out of it. Honestly, that goes for anytime you come out of meditation. Make sure you ground yourself after, girl. But this is the page. This is how she turned out. I think she's all right. She's not my favorite, but she's nice. And the next entry will be on different forms of divination with candles or wax. But thanks for watching. I really hope this was helpful.
You're a witch! They were right.
They usually are.
I'm doing this from bed because I'm so ill right now. But I'd posted a video last week about my Book of Shadows and it had quite a lot of interest about what I put in it, and people were asking to see some pages. So even though I sound like I've crawled out of a dog's fucking arsehole, I've got to give the people what they want. This is the book. She is beautiful and so thick. There's no way in hell I'll be sharing everything in this book. She is the beholder of all of my little secrets. However, I will give you a quick run through. This essentially is just one big book of witchy research. There's research on working with different elements. I have a copy of the Celtic Wheel. I have lots of research on different magical properties of herbs and oils, different theories on colour magic, all of my research on my deities. Here's a complete page dedicated to Lilith and everything I would have to do to prepare an altar for her and work with her, and what can I expect from working with her, which is very, very important research. I always record every spell that I do. I always write these in 7, which is the witch's alphabet. It means that nobody else can read what I've been casting spells about. I also keep record of the spell results just because I love to prove myself right. And it always fucking works. They work in different ways than we were expecting, and I like to also make a note of that if that happens, because sometimes you can literally be thrown into the chaotic mist of the universe by fucking bollocks, and it is working the way that you wanted it to. This is what you've asked for, but it isn't the way that you expected it to happen. So yes, I make notes of everything. I also find it so much easier having everything in one space, so I don't have to gravel for $110 to try and figure out what I'm doing. And I love just making it interactive. I create little books inside of the book, little flips and flaps. It's basically just arts and crafts. For some reason, all of my shit always looks pretty demonic, but I just love that aesthetic. I'm a messy, chaotic witch. Talking of messy and chaotic, right on cue, this is my bone page where I record all of the magical properties of the bones that I find, which I actually need to update. So I'm going to do that today. Bye for now, witches and bitches.
When you have a journal and it's a pretty cool journal, but it's really fucking pretty, so you can't write in that journal, and you don't know what to do because you spent money on that journal, so you buy another journal to write your shit.
I don't know if your brain is all scrambled from like all the molly you take, but I never said that.
Good day, I'm Bob the Necromancer, and today we're doing an unboxing.